Do you have any thoughts about, when we're talking about the economy, the president actually right now is calling for the Federal Reserve Chairman, Chairman Powell, to cut interest rates. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that he is trying to cut interest rates. I take everything that the president says he wants with a huge grain of salt, because it's
No, why
always
is that? Why do you say that?
it always is geared toward helping him and
Okay.
helping the people that show up at Mar-a-Lago and that. So I'm not an economist, but
Okay.
know that interest rates have been at rock bottom for a decade now. And they went up and up and up and up to be incredibly high, and they went down, down, down. And when there are economic problems, one of the tools in the toolbox for the Federal Reserve is to cut the interest rates.
correct.
And if we zero it out when there's no need to, then we've removed that tool from the toolbox for when it is needed.
Absolutely.
So I think that would be very short-sighted to just, kind of rack that up as one more thing that would, goose the income of those top people now, so that they can tout that for the 2020 election. And that.
So you're not saying that he's doing this for political reasons, are
Oh, me say.
Actually, I have some questions that people have submitted,
Okay.
and
I will
in
try
no
to have
particular reason,
answers.
in no particular order. But what have you done to demonstrate that you are tough enough to beat Kenny Marchant?
Well, I think the first thing being that I have persisted.
Okay.
This is my third time to run. The fact that I started when it was anything but easy.
Yes.
I looked at it in 2015 and saw a Congress that was broken, congressional approval ratings in the single digits, I believe. And I said, this is something that's broken, that needs to be fixed. I'm going to do what I can to fix it, without an analysis of, gee, I wonder how hard this will be, or what my chances are of winning, or, I put myself out there.
Now that's interesting, because you're an accountant, that you didn't go through a systematic and analytical decision to say, I'm going to run or not. To me, that's interesting.
Not based on whether I thought I could win or not.
Okay.
Is the main thing I'm saying.
Okay. Then what was your reason for running?
Because to try to right the wrong that I saw out there.
Okay.
I saw a movie called Inside Job that came out in 2011. It
Okay.
won the Academy Award for Best Documentary Film that year, I think.
Okay.
Matt Damon narrated it. It was a wonderful show.
Okay.
And it was all about the financial meltdown, the housing crisis, the complete devastation of our economy.
Yes.
And the first time I saw the movie, and it was all from the government standpoint, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, the secretary of the Treasury, all the government people, and it talked about presidential administration policies starting from Reagan on, and all the Glass-Steagall Act going away, and all of those things. And it was clear that all the people in the government were well aware that this was not, the end game didn't look good.
Okay.
I mean, it was not headed in a positive direction, but everybody was sure making a lot of money, and it sure was a lot of fun, so there was nothing done to slow it down or stop it. And then we ended up, almost going off the cliff, and so many people, lost tremendously in that deal. So the first time I saw this movie, it was with a group of friends at a friend's house, and we were all so angry by it. And the man who was hosting the group at his home said, well, nothing's going to change unless different people run for office and get elected. And that weekend is when I decided, one of these days I'm going to run for Congress. And so, like 4 years later, I guess, I thought, my situation was such that it was feasible, and 2016 looked like the year of the woman, and I said, I'm in. So
So you ran because you were angry. basically.
Yeah, and because I thought that there was a problem out there that I thought that I could contribute to trying to fix. And then nevertheless she persisted,
So is the problem Congress, or is it Kenny Marchant?
Kenny Marchant is so much of a non-entity that I don't think you could put too much of anything.
that is one of the worstest, nicest insults I've ever heard. A non-entity is like, wow.
I started calling him a professional ghost.
Okay.
I mean, that's my take on Kenny Marchant. I mean, he is just so to say that anything big happens around or because of him is a way overstatement of his value and significance in the whole process. I think it's Congress, it's the money in the campaign finance, it's the Mitch McConnells of the world, the whole system being geared to party over country. And I so believe in country over party, and so that's the things that we're up against.